What's going on, guys? Welcome back, Leopazzo Productions. In today's video, we're going to continue where we left off on our last video, showing you guys my setup here of the RGBlink Mini Pro controller. This is a live streaming video switcher, and I'm going to be sharing today with you guys the menu, the settings, and the overall just tips and tricks on getting this bad boy set up. So if you guys haven't watched our previous video, I'm going to leave the link up here, down there, all that good stuff. I'm also going to actually just make a playlist for you guys, so you guys can just simply click the link of the playlist and take a look at all the videos. Also, I will mention this video might be a little bit longer than what I would like, but I wanted to share with you guys all the information as much as possible. So to help you guys, I'm going to basically time code the video. If you look down in the description, I'm just going to list down all the different sections and topics that we talk about and cover in this video. So if you want to just kind of skip through and go to a specific section, you can simply do that by just clicking down on one of the links, the time codes in the description, and will take you directly to that section of the video. So guys, without any further time wasted, let's just jump right into it. Leopazzo Productions, let's get it. So guys, let's have a closer look at the RGBlink Mini Pro. If you notice, when I slide over the T-bar, nothing is actually happening. It's basically deactivated. I deactivated the T-bar, which is basically allowing me to switch the video much faster. So I can just simply press the buttons here between 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the switcher is just going to go ahead and simply switch over as soon as I press that button. So for us to go ahead and do that, if you notice, we're going to go here into the menu setting, and if we scroll over to mode, right now it's set to fast, or we can set it back to T-bar. So if you noticed, if I go back over here, now when I go ahead and switch the video switcher, nothing's going to be basically happening until I go ahead and tell it, hey, I want number 1 to come on next. So when I switch it, boom, number 1 comes on. When I want number 2 to come on, I go ahead and just simply press number 2. So now as you see, it knows what's going on and there's no need to press any of the buttons. So this is also a fast method to switch the video signal input, or output should I say. So if we go back to the mode and I switch it back to fast, you can also notice that we can adjust the timing of the transition. So if I go ahead and adjust the timing right down to 0, look how fast this transitions right over here. Instantaneously. As soon as you press the button, it instantaneously changes. So let's just dial this up to maybe let's say 1 second or so, or even half of a second. And now when you see, when I switch over the video signal, it has this little 1 second of a transition. Okay, so now that we are out of the mode over here, let's go back to the beginning of the menu, and I'm going to go ahead and click menu once over here. I'm going to go ahead and activate the PIP, so picture in picture. So right now it is not activated. I'm going to go ahead and activate it, but actually before I go ahead and do that, I'm going to go ahead and just switch this over to this right hand side. So I have myself right now displayed as the bigger picture. I'm going to go ahead into PIP, picture in picture. I'm going to go ahead and activate it, and if you notice right away, I have the image right here in the middle of my screen. So that's, for an example, not what I want. So right off the bat, the top right corner looks like a good option over there. So these are the presets that we have here that are already built into the device. So between any of these presets, we can go ahead and select whichever one works best for us. So let's go ahead with my initial instinct right here, over here to the top right. So if we go back into the PIP settings, as we just noticed, we were in the layout preset. Let's go ahead into the adjust. So this is going to allow us to adjust quite a bit between the image that's laying on top of the PIP, for an example. So the small image or the big image, we're going to be able to scale it and crop it, move it around, all these kind of cool things. So Let's go ahead and see what we can do. So currently right now we are in the scale option, and if we wanted to go to the crop option, we just got to go ahead and select the crop. So let's go back to scale. If you notice, once we're in the scale, I'm just simply moving over the image anywhere I'd like on the screen over here, so I can dial it down. I can even dial it on an angle if I like to, and I just basically put it wherever I want to. Okay, so let's go back with my original instinct over here, top right hand corner. So now that we've more or less positioned it, let's see, maybe we want to adjust it. We want to adjust the scaling. So if you notice, see how wide screened I just made that, or how small I made it and kind of compressed. Maybe I want to make it a little bit larger. So if you notice, I'm just going to go ahead and just simply make this image a little bit larger. I'm going to move it over to the left hand side here a little bit, and let's say I have a little bit more real estate here, right? It looks like I got quite a bit of room over here, dead space. So let's make this video even larger. So literally you can have full control over here on how you want this image to look. You know, I'm basically making it whatever kind of ratio, size, scale that I want it to be, and now I can just simply move it over. I can bring it up to the top, and that looks like it's well positioned right over here. You can see me clearly talking to you in the camera, and you can also see the device over here onto the top right hand corner, me explaining to you what I am doing and how I am doing it. If we go ahead, if you notice, we did use this dial over here to move around the image. Again, we use these dials over here on the screen if we wanted to stretch out the image to make it a little bit bigger, as you can see what I just did over there. So these dials over here onto the left hand side of the screen, this is going to now take my image as I have it sized and scaled, etc., and it's just going to basically make it a little bit bigger or smaller for me. So one thing that I would say that you might want to know about again is the reset button. So between all these changes that we just made, maybe you're not happy with the change or whatever you want to do, you just want to reset it back to the default. We do have this reset button right over here, right into the middle of these arrows on the display screen. But just keep in mind, if you are selected on image B, that means that you're going to be resetting image B scale. Okay, so if you want to go to the crop of image B, whatever you've done in image B, you want to reset that, so you're going to go ahead and need to do that there as well. So if you want to do the reset for image A, same thing applies. Just click image A, go to crop, press reset, go to scale, image A, go reset. So now we've literally reset everything. So maybe the custom functions, maybe that's something we might not need, or we can just simply go to the presets and move things around, as you can see as so. Now we're just going to go ahead and learn about the next menu setting, which is going to be PTZ. So PTZ is literally a camera that's going to plug into this, but it's going to be plugging in via the Ethernet cable, and that's going to allow us to control that camera zoom function and focus function, and also possibly the rotation of the camera as well, because the camera is going to be able to rotate 360. So this PTZ feature right over here with the RGBlink Mini Pro is something that I would love to take advantage of in the near future, as I would like to pick myself up a PTZ camera so I can have full control of that camera zoom, focus, and position. So let's go ahead and go to the next option right over here, which is views. And if you notice right over here, we have views 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have view control, manual, and auto. I have view control currently set to manual because auto is just going to be picking the view for you, which I do not want. I want to be able to pick the view for myself. So simply, guys, this view setting over here is going to allow us to save the presets that we've manually programmed onto this controller, and we can just simply save it, as you can see over here. And then once we go ahead into the shortcut option, we can just simply pick the view that we would like to see, and the switcher is going to automatically switch to that view. So that is a nice quick feature that we're going to be able to get right over here by simply saving the views that we've worked on, and we've adjusted our cameras and our settings and our layout. We can just save them, and now we can simply access them in the shortcut tab right over here. If we go ahead and continue in the menu setting, we looked at PIP, we looked at PTZ, we looked at views. Next is going to be key. If you notice over here, the key is disabled, and basically what this means is green screen. So whatever color you want to key out of your video image, you're going to simply be able to do that right here. So we can simply go ahead and activate the key. We can pick the color that we want to key out of our image, and then we can simply adjust the minimum of that key. For an example, minimum and maximum. So we can kind of just fine tune it along with the margin as well, and we can just adjust these things if we need to. But currently right now I do not have a green screen setup that I'm currently using, but I would definitely want to be looking into using this feature in the near future. So guys, going into the next setting over here within the menu, we have the effect mode. We're going to go ahead and just simply click on the effect mode, and now we have all these presets for the transitions that we're going to be having when we switch from one video signal to the next. But let's go ahead and start off with the one at the top over here. This one looks like it's going to be bringing the image from looking from in the middle type of a square and then switching it over. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, and you can see all these different types of transitions that we have over here. So I'm just playing around with them. They're very cool to kind of just see which one works better for you. Go from there. So this one's looking pretty cool right here. We can stick with this one for a little bit. We got this transition is pretty subtle. Let's check out this one. This one looks pretty fancy. That one looks pretty fancy, I would say. So yeah guys, we got a few options over here for the transition, even that circular one over there as you guys just saw. So it's pretty fun, pretty cool. If we go ahead into the next menu, which is the audio, let's go ahead and click audio. So right now, just so you guys know, I have again just 2 HDMI signals coming in. So as you guys can see, the 3 and the 4 are disabled. So right now I only have 1 and 2. So if I wanted to adjust the audio for HDMI 1, right now as you guys can see I have it off. But if you wanted to turn it to AFC, AFC basically means depending on what video signal is outputting, that is the audio that's going to be transitioned into the video stream. So for an example, if it's on AFS, if I am shooting with this camera, the audio from that camera is going to be into my live stream. If I again continue to have it on AFS and I switch the video signal to my other camera, the audio signal from my other camera is now going to be transitioned to the video stream as well. So if you want to have the HDMI 1, for an example, you know, always being able to being mixed into your live stream whenever you switch to it specifically, then keep it on AFS. If you want the audio from your HDMI 1 to be always in your mix, then you're going to want to activate mix. Okay, so again, if activate mix, if you want to keep the audio from this HDMI active all the time on your live stream. Again, click AFS if you want to have the audio from that video signal HDMI 1 only being transmitted to your live stream when you select HDMI 1. And again, currently I have HDMI 1 audio set to off. And if we need to, guys, we do have the volume control right here at our fingertips. We can go from 0 to 100% volume. And again, if there is some sort of a delay that we need to adjust the delay over here, we can adjust the delay if we need to as well. So far, I've been pretty good with all the default settings. Again, the audio in my situation, I've been currently having it off. I do not need the audio from my cameras. I have my own mixer that I'm collecting the audio from. So if we go ahead and look at the next one, which is HDMI 2, let's go ahead and click HDMI 2. As you notice, HDMI 2 is also off, and again, we do have the same settings right over here, and so on for the rest of the HDMI signals. The overall audio output of the Mini Pro we can just simply control right over here. So if I needed to send the audio output from the 3.5mm jack, I am going to be able to control the audio output right over here to whatever device I'm going to be sending it to. And along with the audio input, because again we do have the 3.5 audio in, we're going to be able to control the volume of the input. For an example, whatever audio we are inputting, maybe like a microphone or just even the sounds from the mixer switchboard audio interface. Let's go ahead and get towards video out. So as we go ahead to video out, right now we have HDMI output is set to PGM, which is program. And if I set the HDMI output, if I set it to PVW, the image over here on my monitor is going to be changing to the same image that I have right over here. Okay guys, I just wanted to give you guys another example here to show you guys what I mean. So if we go ahead into the menu and we go back into the video out settings, again in the video out settings we have two options to pick from. Again, HDMI output And if we scroll down, we have webcam output. Okay, so just starting here at the top, HDMI output. If you guys recall, the HDMI out from the Mini Pro is going directly to my monitor over here. And if you notice, the monitor is a nice big 16:9 image. This is my final image that I have selected on my switcher. So when I go ahead and switch the switcher video signal, it's going to go ahead and bring up the other camera, which is the HDMI 2, and simply as so if I go to the settings here for the HDMI out and I change it from PGM, which I currently have it, and I change it to PVW, what's going to happen here, the image on my monitor is going to change up over here. So at the bottom of the monitor, you're going to see that I have the 4 HDMI inputs, which I currently only have 2 of them, but the other 2 are currently black right now because I do not have 2 other cameras connected to the HDMI input. And again, the one with the red box around it is the one that is selected that you are streaming, that you're sending out to your software or whatever it is. That's your final video out. So if I go ahead again, switch it on the Mini Pro, you can see here the one that is selected is this other camera, which is HDMI 1, and that's the one that is streaming out. So that is the main difference when you go ahead and enter the menu and for the video out HDMI output. So I like to have mine set, as we mentioned, to PGM, and again, PGM is going to give me that nice big full screen over there. So why don't we go ahead and look at the same settings that we have here for webcam. So for webcam, again guys, don't forget, we are currently plugged into my PC with this USB 3.0 cable. So I'm currently have open right now the XPOSE Mini software application right here, made for the Mini Pro by RGBlink. So I have it connected, it's all recognized, and again, I just wanted to show you guys that we have the same option over here. So PGM, that I currently have it set at, you can see I have a nice big 16:9 image over there. But if I go ahead and change it to PVW, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to give me the 4 HDMI inputs here at the bottom. The red box one is the one that is being outputted. And again, when I go ahead and switch the switcher, it's going to change the video signal to the other HDMI that I select. So that is more or less my setup right there. Again, I'm just going to go back to change it to PGM because that is my preferred. And as you can see, I'm back to a nice big full 16:9 image. So let me go ahead and go back out over here. Again, we have the different formats that we can pick from: 60p, 30p, 24p, all these different resolutions as well. So I just have selected 1920, 1080, 24 frames per second because that is what my camera is set to. One other thing that I wanted to show you guys, so right now again, PGM, let's change this to PVW. And now that I changed it to PVW, I'm going to notice that when I turn on my sound column and my viewfinder, we're gonna have the sound columns coming in from the camera. So right now you can see this camera right here, you can see the audio, and that's a camera from my Panasonic GH7. That's the audio coming from it. So you can activate the sound column. I'm just gonna toggle it off, toggle it on, so you guys can see there that we can simply monitor the audio from each one of our HDMI inputs. And as far as viewfinder, again, I'm just gonna toggle it on and off for you guys, and you guys can see here on the screen, on the left hand side here, we're just gonna have a red box that's going to be just, I guess, our viewfinder highlighting that area if we need to. So for the most part, I've been turning these both off. I haven't been turning them on, the sound column and viewfinder. I've been just disabling them, turning them off. So as far as LCD info, if we go ahead and toggle this off, you can notice here now when we go back to the main menu, we do not have the boxes around here and also displaying the resolution and the frame rate. So in my case, I prefer to kind of go to video settings, LCD info. I like to toggle it on. And when I go back to the menu, you can see here that I have the boxes and also the resolution, the frame rate, and it kind of just helps me see on a smaller scale with the Mini Pro to see what is being inputted and what is currently being outputted. So again guys, we went through quite a few of these settings. We went to video out was the last one. The next one right here, we have record. So as I mentioned guys, we do have this USB stick right here. This is the 32 gig and it says that I have 999 minutes available. So I say we just go ahead and go into these settings. So record audio, sure. Record quality, high, good. That sounds all good with me. Display or disk info, let's go to disk info. Let's see, we got a bunch of free space. Okay, so that's good. The whole disk is pretty much free. Let's go to update. So update 2.4. looks good to me. Nope, I'm not going to update nothing. So let's try recording right here to the USB stick. I just went ahead and simply pressed record, and now it's recording this live directly to this USB stick, which is a nice feature. Let's go ahead into the next setting, which is mode. Mode, again, we looked at this briefly. This is between using the T-bar, basically deactivating the T-bar, and you just want to use the buttons as I'm currently using right now. Again, I'm just simply pressing the buttons and it's switching on the fly. Or if you wanted to specifically use the T-bar, now you have to tell the controller which one you want to activate, which is video signal number 2, and then just slide over the T-bar. Again, same thing goes for the next one. Tell it that you want it to activate, for an example, number 1 or number 3, and then just slide it over. So for my situation, I think I've been preferring it's a little bit more quicker. I can just have it set to fast. It's set to 1 second. So now when I go ahead and switch the video signal, I do not need to use the T-bar. I can just go ahead and press the buttons and it switches nice and seamlessly on its own. So let's have a look at the next option right here, which is the settings. Briefly, guys, let's look at the input information. So the input, again, I got 2 HDMI signals. It recognizes that and it's showing me 1920 by 1080 24p, both of those camera settings HDMI inputs. So if we go ahead and back, we look at device version. This is something that you want to look at in your device to find and confirm what firmware you are currently running at. I just recently updated mine. I am at currently 1.18. That is my latest firmware update that I'm currently using with the Mini Pro. If we go back again to device settings, in your IP settings, you're going to want to go ahead and adjust your IP settings to the same IP address as your home IP address. So that's currently what is happening right now. So my IP settings in this device is currently set to the same thing as my home. So once we have our IP settings set to the same IP address as our home Wi-Fi network, we're going to be able to connect and use this controller with the RGBlink XPOSE mini app. So there is an app along with a program software that we can use on our PC that we can go ahead and simply control this controller with our PC or our app. As far as language, we can adjust the language. We also got the fan speed. We can turn the fan to auto, or we can just turn it off and manually adjust the fan speed. So the fan speed has 1 to 4, or we can fully turn the fan off right there at 0. So I just suggest to have it on auto, and it's going to turn on when it needs to. If we continue to scroll down here, we do have underneath fan speed, we do have auto PVW. So auto PVW basically means that when you are in this menu setting over here, after without touching any of these controls or settings, how long is it going to take to go back to the main screen, which is right over here. So in my case, I adjusted mine from, I believe it was set to 15 seconds. I just simply adjusted mine up to 30 seconds because it allows me more time in case I was adjusting some settings or thinking about a setting or whatever it is. At least it remains on the screen for me for up to 30 seconds. After not pressing anything for 30 seconds, as I mentioned, it's going to go back to the main screen here on its own automatically. So again, guys, let's continue here in the settings. If we scroll down, we had auto PVW last, reset if you need to reset the device, T-bar correction, again if you needed to correct the T-bar for whatever reason. I've never had to use this yet in my situation or any of my cases, but for an example, it looks like it's trying to basically correct your T-bar if there's any kind of error or maybe some kind of miscommunication or something like that, or you just want to configure it a little bit differently. So right now there's no need for me to be touching that T-bar correction. And again, we do have the key test, and again, this is just another test here that we can kind of just confirm that each one of these pads are working. So if I go ahead and press number 2 pad, it shows number 2. If I press number 4, 3, 2, again, it's just making sure that every button on the controller is working as it should. So now that we've confirmed that all these buttons here on the device are working, we have finished the key test. We can just simply exit the key test by pressing that back arrow. So guys, I think we have gone through quite a bit over here through the menu. I'm sure you guys are more familiar with PIP, PTZ, we got the views, we got the key, which is the green screen, we got the effects, the transition, the audio settings, we talked about the video out, the record, mode, settings. Oh, and lastly, we have a logo. So logo right here, if we go ahead and enable logo, we're going to be able to position the logo exactly where we want, possibly even the sizing of the logo as well. And we can now just have a logo, you know, on top of our video source. So for us to actually activate this logo 100%, we need to connect this Mini Pro with the XPOSE Mini software application, where we're going to be able to upload the file of our logo, and then once we uploaded that to the software, we're going to be able to activate it, and then it will be able to be displayed here on our video signal. So guys, lastly, let's just briefly look at the shortcut button over here. If we go ahead and press the shortcut button, again, we have quick access to our views. We have 8 views to pick from. Again, so far I've only programmed 1, 2, and 3 views. Those are the ones that are green. Number 4 view is the current view that we are using right now, that I've selected and programmed. It's showing the record button is highlighted in red, which basically means that it is recording right now. And if I wanted to activate picture in picture, I can simply do that right there by activating the picture in picture. So guys, hopefully this video has helped you guys understand the RGBlink Mini Pro, the overall menu, the shortcut, the tabs, the controls, the features, the way we can set it up. There's lots more to figure out. There's lots more to learn. I'm still new to this product and I'm still getting used to it, but I will tell you, as a first time user, it is easy to set up. It is easy to use. Again, it is touchscreen. The menu is nice and friendly to use, and there's lots of features in here that we have access to, guys. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys have any comments, questions, let me know down in the comment section down below, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the next one.